Hey, sociology students, this is Mr. Altieri, just touching base with you guys. Hope everyone is well and safe and healthy. Um, this is an interesting thing to talk about sociologically because most people in the country, if not all people in the country, have never experienced an event of this magnitude before. And when I'm talking about the event, I'm obviously talking about the COVID-19 coronavirus outbreak. Though there have been other outbreaks, epidemics, and pandemics before in history, in modern era, people cannot remember a time when society was disrupted as much for such a long period of time. In modern world, I teach about the Cold War, and during parts of the Cold War, my parents and probably some of your parents and grandparents believe that they might not even wake up the next morning. Like nuclear missiles would have been launched by both Russia and the United States and would have wiped everyone off the face of the planet. No humans or any life left, really, for that matter. But even through the many years and decades of the Cold War, life went on, and there wasn't internet, there wasn't technology and connectivity the way that we have it today. But um, people went on with their lives. Grocery stores were open. During the worst of it, there were some panics, kind of like what we're going through now. Gas stations were open. Like people kind of went on with their life the best they could under the circumstances. Now we have a situation where we may be affected by this for the next year and a half. Hopefully, it won't be that long. Hopefully, it will only be a few months, and likely it will be, going into summer, and that's why we can't go back to school. But I've asked people I know, and I encourage you to ask your folks and guardians and people you know that are older. Do you remember anything like this in society where it forced you to stay away from other people for a long, extended period of times? Not a snow day, not the hurricane or the tornadoes or cancellations of any other kind. But what is there anything in their lives that they felt disrupted everyday routines as much? Because this is going to be huge, and sociologists are going to be studying the pandemic and its effect on people. They already are evaluating the effect on people as we speak, actually. So there's just some things I want you to start thinking about, and some assignments may be based around this. They'll all be pretty reasonable, like they were before we left the building. But number one, just to think about. How radically is society and our community on a local, state, and national level different than it was before this outbreak was coming out, before the pandemic reached this level? We were talking about it a lot in class, and you probably talking about a lot in your other classes too. But now it's a thing. Now people's freedom of movement is being discouraged, and in some places restricted. People are being told that they shouldn't be social, or at least social in large groups that they don't know. So, concerts, sport events, both professional and local, theater events, etc. All sorts of gatherings are being canceled or postponed or being held virtually now. So, think about the difference between that and how things were before, and the emotional impact it'll have on people and groups in society. Um, Also, we have to talk about the mental impact on the individual and their relationship to the group when it comes to um, how this changes how we socialize with each other and interact with each other. An example would be I can go home and spend a weekend or a few days during a break with my family on Long Island, but it's a small place. There's very little extra space when there's a guest there. How is this mandate, this demand that we stay away from stores when we don't need to, and groups when we don't need to? And how is the kind of cabin fever effect of us being sort of trapped in here with our loved ones, whether we like them or not, or whether we can tolerate them or not? How is that going to change us as a society? Is distance learning going to be kind of the new thing from this point on, even after the outbreak is over? Are more of these things going to be coming digital and interactive and video chats and things like this? permanently after we do recover from this crisis? Are people gonna, when people are allowed to go to bars and restaurants and concerts and sporting events, etc., again, is it gonna be like one big huge Mardi Gras for months because people have been pent up inside for so long? And then there's the people that are in denial that this is a real disease or that this is as bad as they say it is. I really encourage you to take the situation on the facts. The facts are that this is a persistent virus, and though it may only make us feel like we have bad flu or pneumonia symptoms if we're relatively healthy, if you do have a compromised immune system, it can kill you or it could seriously impair you and definitely keep you isolated, physically isolated from pretty much everybody except the doctor. Um, if need be. If you do have underlying medical conditions, weak immune system, or elderly or young baby, um, you would be more susceptible to this virus. So even if you think you're going to be fine, you going out, if you have it or not, may endanger your loved ones that are older or younger of age or that are more susceptible to this disease. So, sociologically, are these people feeling ultra vulnerable? Are some people taking it too far? Are they not listening to the right information and just panicking? And I'll give you a couple more final examples, right? I went out to this grocery store on Friday morning to stock up early, and there were people wearing face masks. Now, if you don't have this disease, a face mask is not going to help you. You catch most of your diseases or your germs through your eye membrane. So you're not walking around in a bubble suit. You're going to be somewhat susceptible to germs. So the face mask doesn't do anything unless you have this virus and you want to stop from sneezing and spreading it around. I would hope those people were not going to the grocery store, though. So I assume the people I saw were just being paranoid. But they also were not listening to the facts. Those face masks are not going to protect you. That being said, there are some things that we can do that definitely will protect us. And social isolation and social distancing, whatever the new buzzword is, virtual learning, all these things, and closing things down, all these things are meant to stop the spread and flatten the curve, etc. Obviously, good hygiene and good sanitary practices are going to help too. So, avoid touching your face, wash your hands. You know all the stuff, you've been inundated with it. But are people going to keep these habits after the virus is over, or are we just going to go back and pretend like nothing ever happened, or that won't happen again for a long time? So these are some things to think about on a sociological level. Aside from coronavirus-related stuff, because we're not going to just be talking about that, I would like to try to find a way to do some form of virtual case study, or something of that nature. Um, and I know it's not going to be easy for you to go out and observe groups because you're not allowed to congregate in groups. But we can look at other prior research. We can look at virtual cameras and do virtual people watching and things of that nature. And I'm trying to put it together. So just please give some of those questions some thought. I don't expect you to spend a lot of time on them or write them out, but you might want to refer back to this video if I do post an assignment that asks you to evaluate and compare society before and after coronavirus mandates have been implemented. So stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you soon.